Okay, I'm just gonna be flat out honest. You might not like what I have to say about 401Ks, but hear me out. Don't use them. Next topic. Okay, no, I'm just kidding. I'm gonna tell you why, okay? And at the end, I'm actually gonna tell you a place that's even much better than using a 401K, a much better approach than that. So be sure to stick to the end for that one. All right, so let me get back to why do I say not use a 401K? Because isn't that brainless investing? I mean, shouldn't everybody do the 401K because you get that free money, it's a match, right? Isn't the match great? I would agree. The match is the best part of a 401K. Unfortunately for 401Ks, they just don't produce good results. Fidelity recently came out with the performance of all their mutual funds. So I decided to look up the 10-year average of some of these funds. And I especially looked at the retirement ones, the ones that, let's say the retirement target date of 2050 or 2045 or 2060, right? Those ones. In fact, they say over 80% of millennials are investing in these very type of funds. Well, guess what? I looked at the average of the S&P, which was doing great, better than the average of long term. The S&P the last 10 years from 2013 to 2023 did 10.1%. But the average of those funds that you have, those target date funds in Fidelity, 8%. So over 2% worse, and that's before the 0.75, the 0.75% came out of fees. So in reality, while the market was doing 10%, in the 401k, you're only doing like 7.25%. That's almost 3% less. Well, if the market averages about 7.5 to 8% and you're doing about 3% less than that, that means you're making less than 5% a year in these funds. So even if you get the match, it barely just makes up the bad performance of the 401k. That's a problem. That's a huge problem. Now, I will say this, if you're gonna use them, save up to the match, right? Only to the match and that's it. If you get a 100% match, which are going away more and more, but if you get that, okay, great. I'll tell you, the 401k, the best ROI you get, the best return on your investment you get from a 401k match is when you first set up the 401k. It's in the very beginning because when you start to do that, it literally is like 100% return. You double your money. But every year you keep investing your money, just getting the match, just know that that compounding effect goes down from 100% to less and less and less. Usually after 30 or 40 years, it only adds maybe an extra 2 to 3% compounding interest performance because all it does is just give you the double the number, okay? So just so you know, you do not get 100% return on that match, even if you get a 100% match. If you don't believe me, just go find any financial calculator online like calculator.net and put in that say you're putting away $10,000 a year and you get 100% return every year and see how much money you have after 20 years. You're gonna be richer than almost everybody in the country in just 20 years. I can guarantee you're not gonna become a billionaire investing $10,000 a year in your 401k. Okay, so it's not a true 100% return. That's my point. But if you're gonna save up and you don't want to even debate me on this, great. Just save up to the match and then invest your money elsewhere. Get it outside of the 401ks or do something else with that money. Now, if both spouses work, here's the thing I would say is prioritize who has the best 401k terms. Who's got the better match? Really calculate that out to see what's better. Many times what they've seen in studies is that when spouses work and they can put money in their 401ks, they often put more money in the wrong 401k, the one that doesn't give you as good of a match. So just be careful of that. Like really analyze between the two of you, connect. And I get it. Like if you guys have separate finances, you're trying to keep it separate. Not great for a marriage relationship sometimes, but it's not always a bad thing in certain situations. If you're gonna do that, then great, just do your own 401k and that's it. But if you're working together and you wanna come to this together, work together as a couple, and get on the same page, really look at the 401k terms to see who's got the better option. Now, if I were given the option, which of course I am, because I can set up my own 401k if I wanted to, which I don't. But if I did, I would use the Roth 401k. Now, the Roth 401k, you don't get the tax deduction. I call it a tax delay because there are no tax benefits in 401ks at all. You're really just delaying taxes to a future date. And you're just hoping and praying the government doesn't want to raise taxes on you at that point when you retire. Big risk. I wouldn't count on it. Heck, even just inflation alone requires you to take out more money, putting you in a higher tax bracket down the road anyways. So I would be kind of careful of that belief that you're going to be in a lower tax bracket down the road. But if I were given the option for that very reason, I would rather use a Roth 401k where you put your money with after-tax dollars, it grows tax-free, comes out tax-free. That's a better option in my opinion. And assuming that the government doesn't change their mind, doesn't decide to tax Roths if you have too much money in them or something like that, I think that's a better option if you're gonna go the 401k route. Now, here's one thing I'll add as kind of an extra bonus for you, right, is this. If you're trying to retire early, the 401k shouldn't even be an option. If you're trying to retire before the age of 60, 401k, I would stop putting money in those in general, right? Now you might still put up to the match like I was talking about before, But for the most part, your money should be going in other places to help you retire early. It's so frustrating when I see people say, well, my goal is to retire at 50. Okay, well, why are you max funding your 401k? So I can retire. But you realize that if you're not 59 and a half years old, you're gonna pay a 10% penalty and then you're gonna pay taxes too. I mean, you might lose, and some people, in some states, even like California and things like that, I've seen people that if they actually were to do that strategy, they lose 50% just to taxes and penalties alone. That's ridiculous, guys. No need to have to pay that much money for something that wasn't a good strategy in the first place, that pays you, as we have already talked about, lackluster returns. Instead, I'd rather have you put your money in other places. Now, if you're gonna keep putting money in that 401k, only put money in that you don't need or you can afford to lose. Because the truth is, there's no guarantees of the 401k. We don't know if the market can come crashing down. You're really just gambling. It drives me nuts sometimes. It's kind of ironic, actually, when people tell me, well, Chris, I'm more of a conservative investor. Do you have a 401k? Yes. Do you invest in mutual funds? Yes. You're a gambler. I'm gonna just come out and say it, you're a gambler, because if you've got money in those places, you have no clue how it's gonna work out. You just hope it works out. Long term, it should work out, but we just don't know. I mean, heck, 2000, I remember Y2K affected my dad badly because he had money in the markets. It came crashing down, especially those tech stocks. And then by the time it finally came back, it was past the year 2015. And even though he's saying, okay, great, at least my money's back to what it was 15 years ago, then he has to look and say, oh yeah, but inflation's double. So really I lost 50% in 15 years, right? So again, just know this, that you put your money in here, there's no guarantees at all. And there's no guarantees you'll even really make any money in this 401k over the period of time that you're looking to do it. Unless you're investing for 40 years, it's a gamble still. The chances are it'll go up after 10, 15, 20 years, but you just never know. Especially when you have inflation taking that money away, you might be lucky enough to keep up with inflation, if even keep up with inflation. And that's what I really want you guys to understand. It's like, don't lie to yourself, right? Don't fool yourself into believing that one, the market always goes up, and then two, that you have some sort of tax advantage. Like I mentioned earlier, you don't have any tax advantages in these plans at all. You are just delaying your tax for a future date. And this money isn't making that much money anyways. So just understand the risks, understand what you're doing. And if you're gonna do it, great, do up to the match, no more. If you're both working as spouses or partners, put more money into the one 401k than the other. But at the end of the day, this strategy hasn't worked, okay? Fidelity came out with their numbers and said only 299,000 people have $1 million in a 401k or more. 299,000 people out of tens of millions of people have been saving these plans for decades. Only less than 300,000 have $1 million in here. And there's people I know, more than the 299,000, I know there's a lot more people at max funding these 401ks, sticking as much as they can, getting the match, and they thought they would have $1 million by now and they don't. That's the problem, guys. So what else could you be doing instead? We got a lot of videos on that subject, but I'll just say this. I would rather buy real assets that buy me cash flow today. In fact, I'll even add this too, not just buying assets like real estate and things like that, which have been proven to work much better than the stock market, but I would actually also combine it with a strategy called infinite banking, where you're able to buy this guaranteed type of tax-free savings account that you can use to invest and get your money working for you in two places at the same time. Now that's not an investment, that's a savings account, tax-free savings account called whole life insurance that you can use if it's designed the right way. It's gotta be designed the right way, and 99.9% of insurance agents don't even know how to do it that way. But what we're talking about here, you want low cost insurance so you get higher returns inside that policy that can also be used to invest in other things like real estate or wherever you want. You can invest it in your own businesses, you can do whatever you want with it. Make money now to create more financial freedom and acceleration of your money versus saving it, putting away, hoping that you don't lose that money in the meantime because you happen to retire the wrong year, like what happened to my dad. You don't want that. You don't want to have that kind of risk. And so way better strategies if you can combine that 1-2 punch of infinite banking with cash flowing passive income investments. And it's been proven. It's worked for me. It's worked for many, many of our other clients. We're getting way better results than anybody's packing their money in a 401k. But again, I would recommend you keep watching this channel on Money Ripples and learn about what those strategies are and how to do it right, because you could also do it wrong. Speaking of doing wrong, I also invite you to watch these next videos, the Stop Doing Wrong video series here. Watch this next video. You're gonna love it.